Hi there, welcome back. Today I want to look at something that has been a challenge in my own life, and it may very well have been a challenge in yours as well. It is how to deal with all of the evil and the darkness and the chaos that is washing over the world like a tsunami without becoming weighed down by it too much, without becoming too cynical. How can we see all of these things while staying positive and having an intention for thriving and a better life for us all? So the basic exploration today is how can we be with the truth and still thrive? My name is Eivind Figenschou Schellum. This is my channel where I speak about truth and thriving in this time of awakening, and let's dive in. Personally, I have become quite disgusted by the way that our leaders, our celebrities, our businessmen, our so on and so forth are showing up in the world these last 2 to 3 years. I see a vector towards tyranny that is stronger than anything I've ever seen in my lifetime. I see a vector towards technocracy, various kinds of fascist, communist aspirations that our leaders seem to have, under the guise of helping us, supporting us, making us safe. Right now, of course, people in China are rebelling. I will probably do a future video on that. But I'm not happy with it, and I imagine you are not happy either. And I think a lot of us were absolutely appalled by the behavior of our authorities during COVID. Not only did they show up as true authoritarians, but they set aside our constitutions, our respective constitutions. They lied, they peddled disinformation, and then they accused other people like you and I, for being the disinformants. Pretty malevolent, if you ask me. And when we are in the presence of a world that is cracking open with all of its putrid, dark innards, then how can we lift our consciousness and get up above it? So I'm going to use a model of 3 stages, loosely related to this idea of 3D, 4D, and 5D consciousness, loosely related to the Buddhist idea of Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. So the idea is to go from a more gross to a subtle and then a non-dual form of consciousness. And when we're not yet started on the path of awakening, we are in this very gross, dense matter. So we're just sort of bumping into things. We're feeling ourselves through friction, through duality, through competition, through scarcity, through separation, through pursuing safety for all that we can. And it's a very stressful way to be in the world. And it appears to me, if I'm going to turn on my conspiratorial consciousness for a little while, it appears to me that this consciousness of density of the gross is being deliberately summoned by our politicians right now. It's like they're driving us towards scarcity and fear and conflict and chaos. Why are they doing that? I think there are levels of corruption in the world now, unlike anything we've ever seen. I don't put much faith in democratic systems anymore because I've seen our own politicians put aside our own constitutions. So how can we even talk about democracy now? There is no democracy in a nation where the government breaks and disobeys the constitution. At least that's what it looks like to me. If you disagree, then let me know in the comments. But as we are in this density, we can start to feel like there's something weird in the world. There are all of these dark things coming through. At least if you're sensitive, if you can feel a little bit under the surface, you can feel like there's some occult machinations that are playing out. And if you saw my recent video on the Balenciaga ad, you can see the references to Baal and to demons and the people behind it being worshippers of Baphomet and things like that. When this is starting to come out more and more, it's a bit like the Jungian idea, or the psychological idea of the repression barrier lifting. And so you have all of this unconscious material that is coming through into our conscious minds. And this can be highly destabilizing if we don't have a firm psychological foundation. So in this more subtle realm, there are what appears to me to be archetypal occult attacks against the more gross realm from forces that are human and non-human. So this is what we can awaken to gradually when we realize the limitations of the rational mind, and we realize that science by now is nothing more than religion for most scientists. There are some good ones still, Lex Friedman, for instance. I love him. But we see that the rationality of the 3D is just breaking apart and is being suffused with this occult dystopian weirdness. And this is what we need to see. That's the first step on the process of awakening, and to realize that there is a darkness that is beyond the gross realm. But if we stay stuck there and just look at, devil shit and corruption and evil and all of these degenerate people that are in positions of power around the world, if that's where we stay, it can be quite overwhelming. And this is why I propose that we will actually need to go above that without, in a way, bypassing it, because having seen all of this, that's already grounding in the earth, in the dark matter. And then we need to lift our consciousness above this. I think this is in large part why I've been so drawn to Jesus Christ lately. I have been a Buddhist practitioner for a long time, but when I see the world now, Jesus summons me, man. He does. I'm here next to the church that I love, close by. And what does Jesus represent? He represents mastery of the gross, the subtle, but also this non-dual, the causal, the God consciousness, the Son of God. Whether you take that literally or not, I don't care. But there is a place above the darkness where we can look at it from a distance, and we can rest in the knowing that we are a part of the divine plan, if you will. And that from that place we understand that the darkness and the evil serves a purpose. Serves the purpose of actually bringing the good, bringing the love, bringing the light towards victory and glory. Because the human realm is one of polarity, one of dualism. And when evil rises, so does good. And in the end, good always prevails. So we need to take the time to pray, to meditate, to realize that every soul that is on this planet has chosen their path, and there is a perfection in that for each and every one of us. Maybe some of them will go to places where you don't want to go after they die. But that's their destiny, that's their path, and you can choose something else. And I think this is where we are in the middle of a spiritual awakening process, unlike anything that humanity has ever seen. And that is quite grand. It's quite epic, actually. So wherever you go to elevate your consciousness above the chaos and above the darkness is for you. I'm choosing to go towards Jesus Christ now because my heart has been summoned in that direction. But if you want to go somewhere else, that's your path. We're all okay with that. So, above the clouds, the sun always shines. Deep down below the ocean currents, the waves are nowhere to be found. So it is about rooting in something more eternal. Knowing that the drama that's playing out now, this cosmic drama that's playing out on the planet right now, in the big scheme of things, yes, it matters. But in the big scheme of things, or maybe this has even happened before, the drama is the drama, and we can zoom out and be in the eternal, where there is love and there is light, and there is glory and freedom forevermore. So that's the invitation, to spend the time to tap into that place without closing your eyes to what's happening, but to not get so fixated on what's happening that you drown in it, because that can happen. And especially if you're new, like I was 2 or 3 years ago, and I hadn't taken the time, even though it wasn't that I hadn't the capacity, I just hadn't taken the time. So it wasn't that I lacked the capacity to see it, I just hadn't taken the time and set aside the energy to do so. And this is something that you may choose to do for yourself if you haven't done it already, but once you actually go there, it's quite intense what you'll find. And that's why actually having the pathway to the higher and to lifting your consciousness into that more eternal place of glory, that is really vital to actually have as part of your roadmap, so to speak. So I think that's where we'll leave it for now. If you want more of this kind of content, you may notice that I'm bringing in more religion now, but I'm not a classical Christian, but I'm somebody who's being summoned by the Christ right now. My heart is opening more and more to the Christ, and that is where I find redemption for myself, and I find the trust in the divine plan. So if you love that, or if you don't mind that, stick around. If you hate that, then bye-bye. It was great to be with you. And certainly, if this is something that you crave more of, then make sure to subscribe, click the bell notification icon if you want me straight into your YouTube inbox when I have a new video. So I hope you're well. God bless you, and I'll see you around next time. Bye.